killer storm is trapping tourists on rooftops, shutting down airports, and turning streets into raging rivers across one of Europe's most popular holiday destinations, right now. This week, Storm Therese has descended on the Canary Islands, with a ferocity that has authorities calling it historic. Spain's National Meteorological Agency, AEMET, has confirmed conditions reached their peak overnight, with rainfall exceeding 700 liters per square meter in some areas. Figures so extreme that local media have labeled Therese the storm of the decade, the worst to strike the Canary Islands since at least 2013. This changes everything for the thousands of locals and tourists currently on the islands. The threat is specific and immediate. Tacoronte and the wider metropolitan region of northern Tenerife have absorbed the heaviest punishment, up to 80 liters of rain per square meter, far beyond what forecasters had predicted. At 8:45 p.m. on Tuesday, island authorities cranked the emergency plan to its maximum level as conditions rapidly deteriorated. Officials warned the storm remains, in their words, wildly unpredictable. Picture this: you are a tourist on a minibus in Puerto de la Cruz. Muddy floodwater surges around the vehicle faster than anyone can react. 5 British holidaymakers found themselves in exactly that situation, scrambling out through the sunroof as the bus was engulfed by floods. One woman screaming, "Can someone get us help?" and help while stranded in the dark on the roof. Firefighters eventually reached them. Not everyone in a crisis like this gets that outcome. The scale of this emergency has overwhelmed standard response capacity across the archipelago. Emergency services have recorded nearly 1,800 incidents since the storm began. On Tuesday alone, Cruz responded to 653 separate emergencies in just 18 hours, road flooding, landslides, and swamped public spaces pushing responders to their absolute limit. The situation became so severe that the Canary Islands government formally requested the deployment of Spain's military emergency unit, the UME, to both Tenerife and Gran Canaria. Specialist military teams are now on the ground, called in at the request of emergency services and the Tenerife Island Council, as civilian crews struggled to absorb the volume of damage. Here's how the danger mechanism works. When rainfall of this intensity saturates terrain this fast, water has nowhere to go. Ravines overflow, drainage systems collapse, roads become channels. What looks like a flooded street can conceal currents powerful enough to carry vehicles. Civil Protection Chief Nestor Padron framed it with brutal directness. These situations can generate problems in no time. It is fundamental to reduce exposure to risk. The question is not whether floodwater looks dangerous, it is whether people respect it before it is too late. Before we continue, don't forget to hit subscribe and ring the notification bell to keep you updated on developing situations like this one. Multiple municipalities face direct threats. Authorities have shut down schools, canceled public events, and imposed travel restrictions across the islands. Flights have been canceled and diverted. Thousands have been evacuated or left stranded across the archipelago. Key roads, nature reserves, and access to Teide National Park have all been sealed off due to the risk of landslides and dangerous water flows. In Lanzarote, authorities had escalated to an orange warning on March 24 due to intense downpours and powerful winds before conditions began to ease. Emergency alerts were blasted directly to mobile phones across northern Tenerife, the sudden loud warning tone sparking panic among residents in the middle of the night. Island President Rosa de Villa urged calm, explaining the system is designed to deliver urgent safety information rapidly and effectively. She warned directly, "We are facing a changing situation, with a storm that maintains an unstable behavior. Our priority is to anticipate and protect the public." History provides brutal lessons about storms of this magnitude striking island terrain. The Canary Islands have not seen conditions this severe since at least 2013, more than a decade of development, tourism infrastructure, and population growth separating that event from this one. President of the Gran Canaria Island Council, Antonio Morales, stated plainly, "We are facing historic circumstances in terms of the volume of rainfall and its impact on the island territory." That word, historic, is not dramatic language from a press release. It is an admission from officials that their own emergency frameworks are being tested at limits they have not encountered in years. Right now, AEMET Canarias has reduced the maximum alert level across the Canary Islands to yellow for rain, signaling a step down from the extreme overnight conditions. Tenerife has lowered its emergency level to level 1 after a night that generated nearly 600 separate incidents, the majority concentrated in the north of the island. The storm is easing, but easing is not over. Scientists are tracking residual instability as the system continues to move through the region. Roads remain closed, military units remain deployed, damage assessments have not yet begun in the hardest hit zones. Days before tourists were rescued from rooftops, Storm Therese had already signaled its power in a different and terrifying way. A passenger aircraft attempting to land at Lanzarote Airport was forced to abort its approach in gale-force winds. Footage captured on the airport's live runway webcam showed the plane rocking violently before pulling up at the last second. That image alone tells you what kind of system this is. Communities across the Canary Islands now face the stark reality of what comes after a storm of this scale passes through: damaged infrastructure, closed access routes, strained emergency services, and a landscape that remains unstable and unpredictable. Officials are pleading with both residents and tourists to stay indoors, avoid all travel, and under no circumstances attempt to cross floodwaters. That last point is not a precaution. It is the single most important piece of survival information coming out of this event. The storm of the decade is not finished making its mark. The question is whether people on the ground will give it the respect it demands before conditions force the issue. Don't forget to subscribe and stay updated on this developing story and others like it. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a critical alert when it matters most.